Welcome to Stoic Ocean. Today we are talking about something that might change how you see yourself and how others see you. Here is the truth. The real power of intelligent people is not in having all the answers. It is in knowing when to keep their mouth shut. Sometimes what you do not say says more about you than any clever quote ever could. Words can build or they can tear down. They can open doors or lock them for good. And the difference often lies in what we choose not to say. I have spent years studying human nature through the lens of ancient Stoic wisdom and through real life. And the wisest people I have known have one thing in common. They do not waste words. They do not rush to fill the silence. They weigh what they say because they know that once it is out there, it cannot be taken back. And they never say things that chip away at their credibility. So today we are diving into 7 things intelligent people never say. 7 phrases that sound harmless or even confident, but that in reality hold us back, damage our relationships, and keep us from becoming who we are capable of being. Each one is a habit we can unlearn. Each one is a choice we can make differently starting today. You do not need to be perfect. You just need to be willing to notice when you slip into one of these phrases and to choose something else the next time. That is how intelligent people become who they are. Not by never making mistakes, but by learning from them. One phrase at a time. One choice at a time. That is the path, and it is always available to you. Starting with the very next moment. Thank you for being part of this conversation. Until next time, take care of yourselves and each other. See you soon on Stoic Ocean. Take good care. Not because they are flawless, but because they have learned, sometimes the hard way, that these phrases lead nowhere good. If this hits home, subscribe to Stoic Ocean and drop a comment. Which of these 7 do you want to work on first? Now let us begin. Thing 1, I already know that. There is a phrase that slips out more often than we would like to admit. In meetings, in conversations, when someone is trying to teach us something or share an idea. I already know that. It sounds harmless, even confident, as if we are simply saving everyone time. But what it really reveals is something far less flattering, a closed mind, a mind that has decided it has nothing left to receive. An intelligent person knows better. They know that the moment we convince ourselves there is nothing more to learn, we have slammed the door on growth. I learned this the hard way. Years ago, I was working with a mentor, a man who carried himself with the quiet certainty of someone who had lived through enough battles to speak sparingly. We were reviewing a process I had done 100 times before. He had seen the same process 1,000 times, but he still treated it like there was something worth paying attention to. That in itself was a lesson I was not ready to receive. The best mentors do not just teach you what they know, they teach you how to pay attention, how to stay curious, how to treat every moment as if it might offer something new. He began explaining something about it, and without thinking I cut him off with, "Yeah, I know that already." He gave me a look, calm but heavy, and moved on. He did not scold me or correct me in front of others. He simply stopped sharing. Later that evening, I realized what I had done. Not just interrupted him, but robbed myself of the chance to hear what he saw that I did not. His years of experience had taught him things that did not come printed in manuals or outlined in training videos. The kind of insight that only comes from doing the work, failing, getting back up, and paying attention to what actually matters in the real world. Things I had not lived long enough to understand. And I had just told him I did not need to hear them. When we say, "I already know that," what we are really saying is, "I have nothing left to learn." That is not intelligence. That is arrogance dressed in the costume of competence. Stoic philosophy cuts right through that illusion. Marcus Aurelius warned us plainly. You cannot learn anything when you think you already know everything. Simple words, but they cut to the bone. What he meant was that the ego, our need to seem knowledgeable, to protect the image we have built, becomes the very thing that blocks our growth. We think we are defending our competence when we are really defending our insecurity. It convinces us we are standing on solid ground when we are really balancing on pride. The moment we believe we have nothing left to learn from someone, we have stopped seeing them clearly. We have reduced them to a source of information we already possess, instead of a human being who might offer us something we never knew we needed. Intelligent people understand that knowledge is not a trophy you win and place on a shelf. It is a river, always moving, always changing. You step in the same place twice, and the water is different each time. The Stoics believed that the wise person is never finished learning, because the world is never finished teaching. There is always another layer, another angle, another lesson waiting for those willing to receive it. I once watched a seasoned carpenter listen patiently to an apprentice explaining a technique he had likely mastered decades before. The younger man was nervous, unsure if he was wasting the master's time. But the older man leaned in, nodded, asked questions, even thanked him for sharing. There was no condescension, no hurry, no sign that he had heard it all before. Later, I asked him why he did not just tell the kid he knew all that already. He smiled and said, "Because sometimes you learn more by listening to the way someone else sees it. The same technique, seen through different eyes, can reveal something you missed." We think we are saving time when we say we already know. But we are often wasting the one chance we have to see something familiar in a new way. That is wisdom. And it is a kind of intelligence that does not need to broadcast itself. So if you catch yourself thinking, "I have heard this before," take a breath. Do not say it. Listen anyway. Not because you need to humor someone, but because you might catch something new. The speaker might phrase it differently. They might add a detail that changes how you see the whole picture. Or you might simply practice the discipline of staying open. A detail, a shift in perspective, a nuance that deepens your understanding. And even if you do not, you practice humility. You show respect. And over time, that makes you someone worth listening to. In Stoicism, we call that mastery of the self. The ability to set aside pride in favor of clarity. The strength to be a student of life, always. Not the kind of student who performs for grades, but the kind who shows up because there is always something worth learning and someone worth learning from. And in the end, that is the kind of intelligence that outlasts all the rest. The next time someone shares something with you, resist the urge to signal that you already know. Let them finish. You might be surprised what you hear when you stop defending your own expertise and start receiving. Thing 2. That's impossible. Some of the most damaging words we can say are the ones that sound the most reasonable. That is impossible. We say it when we are tired, when we are scared, when we have been burned before, and we think we are being honest. Several years ago, I worked alongside a man named Robert. He was sharp, experienced, the kind of leader who seemed to carry the weight of the entire company on his shoulders without ever showing strain. People looked up to him, and he had earned that respect through decades of hard work. He was not a bad leader. He was a cautious one. But there was one phrase he used often, almost like a reflex. So often that after a while, people stopped bringing new ideas altogether. Why bother if the answer was always the same? Over time, Robert had become a bottleneck. Not because he was unqualified, but because he had stopped believing that new things were possible. And when a leader stops believing, the whole team eventually stops trying. I hope he found a way to replace that as impossible with what if. With let us try. With what can we control here? That is impossible. Whenever the team wanted to try something new, those two words were often the first out of his mouth. Any time a new idea surfaced, whether it was a proposal to enter a different market, streamline an outdated system, or approach a difficult client, he dismissed it with those two words. At first, it sounded practical, responsible, even. After all, who has time to waste chasing pipe dreams? But over time, something became painfully clear. Every time he said that is impossible, it was not the situation he was describing. It was himself, his own limits, his own fear. The Stoics understood this kind of thinking well. Seneca wrote that we suffer more often in imagination than in reality. And that is exactly what Robert was doing. He was not analyzing a situation objectively. He was not weighing the pros and cons with an open mind. He was projecting his own fear of failure onto it. He had been hurt before or had seen others fail, and he had decided that the safest thing was to never try again. Fear of the unknown. Fear of being wrong. Fear of trying and coming up short. Fear of looking foolish in front of others. It is a quiet fear, the kind that does not look like fear at all. It wears the mask of logic, caution, practicality. We tell ourselves we are being realistic when we are really just being scared. But under it is the very thing that keeps us small, the belief that if we cannot see the entire path, we should not take the first step, as if clarity were a requirement for courage. Stoic philosophy cuts through this self-imposed paralysis by reminding us that the obstacle is not the problem. It is our perception of the obstacle that defeats us. The same challenge that breaks one person becomes the breakthrough for another. The difference is rarely the situation. It is the mindset we bring to it. The willingness to ask what we can control and to act on that answer instead of staying stuck in what we cannot. I have seen this firsthand. There was a project I was once part of, years after working with Robert. The budget was tight, the timeline shorter than seemed reasonable, and the team inexperienced. We were understaffed, underfunded, and under pressure. Every logical bone in my body told me it could not be done. I could have said that is impossible and walked away. Many people would have understood, but instead of saying that is impossible, I tried something different. I asked myself, what can I control today? What is the next small step I can take? Not the whole mountain, just the next step. That project turned out to be one of the most successful I have ever worked on, not because we performed miracles, but because we refused to be paralyzed by the scope of the challenge. We stayed focused on the next step, then the next. We did not ask whether the whole thing was possible. We asked what we could do today. Marcus Aurelius said, "You have power over your mind, not outside events." And that became the difference. When we stopped arguing with reality and started working with it, one step at a time, the impossible became possible. That is the lesson I wish I could have gone back and shared with Robert. That the word impossible is often just another way of saying, I'm not ready to try yet. And that readiness is something we choose, not something we wait for. When a person says that is impossible, they are declaring defeat before the fight begins. They are telling the world and themselves that they are not willing to find out what might have been possible. Intelligent people know that what often feels impossible is just unfamiliar. They know that yesterday's impossible is often today's routine, if someone was willing to try. It is not a war. It is a challenge to step forward. They understand that strength is not built by winning every battle, but by showing up again and again, especially when the odds seem stacked. That is the essence of Stoic courage. Not reckless optimism, but disciplined persistence. In life, we are often asked to do difficult things, and the moment we label them impossible, we close the door on ourselves. But the person who learns to take the next step, no matter how small, opens doors no one else even sees. That is not just intelligence. That is wisdom forged in effort. So the next time you are tempted to say that is impossible, pause. Ask yourself, is this really impossible, or does it just feel that way because I have never done it before? The answer might change what you do next. Thing 3. That's not my fault. There is another phrase that sounds like self-defense, but in reality it is self-sabotage. We reach for it the moment something goes wrong, as if saying it will protect us from the consequences. That is not my fault, and sometimes we are right. Sometimes the circumstances were genuinely outside our control, but that is not the point. The point is that every time we push responsibility away, we hand over our power. We tell the world and ourselves that we are passengers in our own life, that things happen to us and we have no say in what comes next. But the Stoics knew that was never true. We always have a say in how we respond. And that response is where our power lives. So when we say that is not my fault, we might be right about the facts, but we are wrong about what matters. What matters is not who was right or wrong. What matters is who is willing to take responsibility for what happens next. We have all said it, or at least thought it, when something goes wrong. A project fails, a relationship cracks, a deal falls through, and the first thing we do is point elsewhere. The market, the client, the other person, the circumstances. Anything but us. I knew a man named Michael once. He was talented, driven, the kind of person who seemed to have everything figured out. He had built a strong reputation and was used to winning. Then he lost a major client, one that had been with his company for years. It was a blow to the team and to the bottom line. Within hours, he was explaining to anyone who would listen why it was not his fault. The client had unrealistic expectations. The team had dropped the ball. The economy had shifted. He had a reason for everything, and none of those reasons pointed at him. And while he was busy defending himself, something valuable slipped away. Not just the client, but the chance to learn, the chance to improve, the chance to take back control of his own response. His team watched him point fingers, and some of them began to wonder if he would ever own his part when things went wrong. Trust is built when we take responsibility. It erodes when we run from it. Michael did not see that at the time. I hope he has since. Epictetus put it in a way that cuts through all the noise. It is not what happened to you, but how you reacted to it that matters. What happens to us is often outside our control. Our response never is. When we say, "That is not my fault," we are not just deflecting blame. We are giving away our power. We are saying that we are passengers in our own life, that events happen to us, and we have no say in what comes next. But the moment we accept even a small piece of responsibility, something shifts. We move from passive to active, from helpless to capable. We ask ourselves, what could I have done differently? How could I have communicated better? What can I do next time? That is not about beating yourself up. It is about taking back the steering wheel. When you own your part, you are no longer at the mercy of circumstances. You become someone who can influence what happens next because you have stopped pretending that you had no role in what happened before. Intelligent people know that responsibility is not the same as blame. Responsibility is influence. It is the recognition that we always have a role to play, even when we are not the only factor. When we take responsibility, we are not accepting blame for everything. We are accepting power to change something. And that shift from victim to agent is everything in Stoic philosophy. So the next time something goes wrong, before you reach for that phrase, pause. Ask yourself, what was my part? Maybe you did not communicate clearly enough. Maybe you could have prepared better. Maybe you ignored warning signs. Own that part, not to punish yourself, but to empower yourself. Say it out loud if you need to. I did not communicate clearly. I could have prepared better. I missed the signs. Then ask, what can I do differently next time? Because the person who can say, I could have done better, is the person who will. That is how intelligent people lead. That is how they grow. And that is how they turn setbacks into stepping stones. The goal is not to carry the weight of the world on your shoulders. It is to carry your part, own it fully, and become someone others can trust when things go wrong. Thing 4. I don't need any help. Of all the phrases we are covering today, this one might be the most seductive because it feels like strength. We have been taught to equate strength with independence. To ask for help is to show weakness. To need others is to admit we are not enough on our own. So we push through alone, we carry the weight ourselves, and we wear "I do not need any help" like a badge of honor. We confuse independence with strength, and we end up exhausted, isolated, and further from the very things we are trying to achieve. But here is what the Stoics understood that we often forget. Refusing to ask for help is rarely strength. It is usually pride dressed in the costume of self-reliance. Abraham Lincoln, one of the most tested leaders in history, did not lead the Civil War by pretending he had all the answers. The weight of that war, the division of a nation, the lives at stake, could have driven him to close himself off and insist he knew what to do. Instead, he surrounded himself with people who dared to disagree. Advisors who challenged him, who argued with him, who made him think again. His team of rivals was not a political stunt, it was wisdom. He knew he needed perspectives he did not have, counsel he could not generate alone, and the courage to admit when he was wrong. That is not weakness. That is the wisdom of someone who understood that the stakes were too high to let ego get in the way. The Civil War, the fate of a nation, the lives of millions, and he was willing to say, I need help. I need people who will challenge me. I need to hear what I might be missing. If Lincoln could ask for help, so can we. Marcus Aurelius, the most powerful man in the known world, wrote in his private meditations about his debt to his teachers, his family, his friends. He did not pretend he had figured everything out. He acknowledged that he stood on the shoulders of others, and that was not a weakness. It was the foundation of everything he built. If the most powerful man in the world could admit he needed others, what does that say about the rest of us? We are not meant to figure it all out alone. We are meant to learn from each other, to lean on each other, and to become stronger together than we could ever be on our own. So the next time you feel the urge to say, I do not need any help, ask yourself whether that is really true, or whether you are just protecting an image of yourself that does not leave room for growth. The strongest people are not the ones who never need anyone. They are the ones who know when they do and have the courage to ask. I had to learn this the hard way. There was a period in my life when I believed that asking for help would make me look incapable. So I struggled in silence, made avoidable mistakes, and burned out trying to prove I could do it all alone. The turning point came when I finally admitted to someone I trusted I could not do this alone. Not as a confession of failure, but as a statement of truth. I had been afraid that those words would make me look weak. Instead, they opened a door. The response was not judgment. It was understanding. It was support. People I had assumed would think less of me actually stepped closer. And it changed the way I saw strength. Real strength is knowing when to extend your hand and when to grasp the hand that is extended to you. Epictetus reminded us that no one is an island. We are built for cooperation, for community, for leaning on each other. No one climbs the mountain alone. No one builds a life without the hands of others along the way. Asking for help requires courage. It requires honesty. It requires letting go of the image we have of ourselves as the person who has it all figured out. But that is exactly what intelligent people do. They know that wisdom is not having all the answers. It is having the humility to seek them and the courage to admit when they do not. The person who asks for help is not weak. They are secure enough to know that growth requires humility and that no one ever achieved anything great by refusing to learn from those who came before. So if you catch yourself saying, I do not need any help, pause. Ask yourself, is that true? Do I really have everything I need to do this well, or am I just afraid of what it would mean to admit I do not? Or is it pride talking? The kind of pride that would rather struggle alone than succeed with others. There is a moment in every journey when we have to decide whether we want to look strong or actually become strong. Looking strong means never asking for help. Becoming strong means knowing when you need it and having the courage to ask. The first is an act. The second is growth. There is no shame in needing support. There is only shame in refusing it when it could make you better and those around you stronger. The strongest people I know are not the ones who never ask. They are the ones who know when to ask and who do it without apology. If these ideas are landing, take a moment to subscribe to Stoic Ocean and share this with someone who could use it. Now, the fifth phrase. Thing 5. I'm too old for that. We save this one for when we do not want to try, when we are afraid of looking foolish or starting over, or failing at something new. I am too old for that. Too old to learn something new. Too old to change direction. Too old to start again. We say it when we are 30, 40, 50, and beyond, as if there were an expiration date on curiosity, on courage, on the right to try. As if life hands us a timetable and says, after this age, you are done changing, done growing, done starting. The Stoics would have none of it. Marcus Aurelius wrote that age means nothing to the soul. Until the moment we die, our duty is to live fully and to live with virtue. Wisdom does not retire at 60. It often arrives with age, for those who keep their minds open and their hearts willing. Consider Harry Bernstein. He spent most of his life wanting to write, but life got in the way. Work, family, responsibilities, the daily grind that makes us push our dreams to someday. He was 93 when he finally sat down and wrote his first book, The Invisible Wall. Most people at that age are not starting new chapters, they are closing old ones. But he had something to say, and he decided that it was not too late. It was published when he was 96. He went on to write 3 more, not because he was special, because he refused to tell himself he was too old to begin. Growth does not stop with age. It deepens. Experience, clarity, resilience, these are the tools we gain when we have lived long enough to stop fearing failure as much. We have already survived so much. We have already learned so much. To say we are too old to use that wisdom is to throw away the very gift that time has given us. The person who says I am too old for that is not stating a fact. They are surrendering. They are deciding that the best part of life is behind them and that the rest is just waiting out the clock. But the Stoic path is different. Keep learning, keep striving, until the very end. As long as you are here, there is work to do. There are lessons to learn, people to serve, and a life to live with intention. The Stoics did not see old age as an excuse to coast. They saw it as the final stretch of the race, when everything you have learned and endured can be put to use. You have already survived so much. You have already built so much. To say you are too old to keep building is to ignore everything that has brought you here. Seneca wrote that life is long if you know how to use it. That applies at 20 and at 80. The only waste of life is to believe we have run out of time to live it well. To decide we are too old to start, too set in our ways to change, too tired to try. The Stoics would say that as long as you are breathing, you have a duty to live with purpose. So the next time you catch yourself thinking you are too old for something, ask yourself, is that true? Or is it fear talking? Fear of looking foolish, fear of failing, fear of being the one who started late, fear of investing in something that might not work out when we have already lost so much time. Let it go. The time will pass either way. The only question is whether you will use it or watch it slip away. The only thing you are too old for is giving up on yourself. Age is not a deadline for dreams. It is just a number that reminds us we have less time to waste on excuses. Thing 6. I'll do it later. If there is a phrase that has stolen more dreams than any other, it might be this one. I will do it later. Later is where good intentions go to die. We say it about the call we need to make, the conversation we need to have, the project we need to start, the habit we need to build. Later feels safe. Later feels reasonable. Later gives us permission to relax today and tell ourselves we will get to it when the time is right. But the time is right now. Marcus Aurelius put it with stark clarity. You could leave life right now. Let that determine what you do and say and think. Not to scare us, but to focus us. Not to make us live in fear, but to make us stop living as if we have forever. We do not know how much time we have. Tomorrow is a promise we make to ourselves that life does not always keep, so the things that matter cannot wait for a better moment. The call, the conversation, the first step, they matter now. I think of a man named Thomas. He was successful, busy, the kind of person who always had a plan for tomorrow. He loved his father, and his father loved him, but he kept meaning to spend more time with him and never quite finding the right moment. A fishing trip they had talked about for years, a phone call that could wait until the weekend, a visit that would happen when things slowed down. There was always next month, next season, next year. He was not a bad son. He was a busy one. Then his father died suddenly, and Thomas was left with unsent text messages, unspoken words, and a list of plans that would never happen. Later had run out. There would be no next month, no next year, no chance to say what he had always meant to say, or to hear what his father had always meant to tell him. The weight of that stays with him still, not because he was a bad person, but because he believed he had more time than he did. We all do. We assume tomorrow will look like today. We assume the people we love will be there when we are finally ready. But the Stoics reminded us again and again that life is short and uncertain. The only time we are guaranteed is right now. So use it. Make the call you have been putting off. Have the conversation you have been avoiding. Start the project you have been telling yourself you will get to someday. Someday is not a day on the calendar. Today is, and the Stoics would say that if you know what matters, you have no excuse to wait. Every day we wait is a day we cannot get back. Every conversation we postpone might be one we never have. Every step we delay is a step we might never take. The phrase, "I will do it later," has cost more dreams than almost any other. Do not let it cost yours. Intelligent people understand that procrastinating on what matters does not buy you more time. It steals it. Every day we postpone the call, the conversation, the first step, we are not preserving our future. We are borrowing from it. And one day the bill comes due. They make the call. They take the first step toward repair. They start the project. Not because it is easy, but because waiting for the perfect moment almost never pays off. The perfect moment is a myth. The right moment is usually now, when you decide that this thing matters enough to stop postponing it. The Stoics lived with a sense of urgency, not anxiety, but presence. The awareness that this moment, this day, this conversation might be the last chance to do what we know we should. We assume we will have time. We assume the people we love will be there. We assume we can fix it later, say it later, do it later, but later is not promised. Live now, fully, with intention. Later is the comforting illusion we use to avoid the discomfort of today, until one day it is too late. Do not let later become never. The perfect moment to start is almost never tomorrow. It is the moment you decide that waiting has cost you enough. Thing 7. That's just how I am. There is perhaps no phrase more final than this one. We use it to end the conversation, to shut down the possibility of change, to tell ourselves and others that this is as good as it gets. We say it after we lose our temper, or avoid a hard conversation, or fall back into a pattern we know is not serving us. That is just how I am. And with those words, we close the door on growth. We tell the people around us not to expect anything different. We tell ourselves we are being honest about our limitations, but we are really just choosing comfort over courage. Choosing to stay where we are instead of doing the work to become who we could be. We use it after we lose our temper, or avoid something that scares us, or fall back into a pattern we know is not serving us. We say it like a verdict, like something carved in stone. I have always been this way. I will always be this way. But that is not the truth. It is a story we tell ourselves to avoid the hard work of change. Epictetus said, "It is not things themselves that disturb us, but our judgments about them." We add meaning to events, and then we react to the meaning we added. In the same way, it is not our nature that limits us. It is the story we tell about our nature. We decide what we are capable of, and then we live within those limits we invented. When we get angry and say, "That is just how I am," we are not stating a fact. We are choosing not to do the work to respond differently. We are telling ourselves and others that we have no choice, when in truth, we do. When we avoid vulnerability and say, "That is who I have always been," we are not describing our destiny. We are using the past as an excuse for the present. We are hiding behind a story instead of writing a new one. Fear and inertia often hide behind the mask of self-knowledge. We confuse what we have always done with what we are capable of. We tell ourselves we are being authentic when we are really just being comfortable. There is a difference between accepting who you are and giving up on who you could become. The Stoics believed we are not prisoners of our temperament, our past, or our instincts. We have the capacity to choose. Every time we respond instead of react, every time we pause before we speak or act, we are exercising that capacity. Mastery of the self was the highest calling for a life of meaning. Not because it was easy, but because it was the one thing no one could take from us or do for us. We cannot control what life throws at us. We cannot control how others behave. But we can choose how we respond. We can choose whether to stay open or closed, whether to take responsibility or deflect it, whether to say that is just how I am, or to ask whether we are willing to become something more. So the next time you hear yourself say, "That is just how I am," pause. Ask yourself, am I acting this way because it is truly who I am, or because it is easier than doing the work to change? Is this really my nature, or is it my habit? My fear, my unwillingness to try? Intelligent people choose the harder path. They know that wisdom is not a trophy you receive for being born a certain way. It is a practice. It is something you do again and again until the person you want to be becomes the person you are. Every time you choose to respond instead of react, every time you pause and ask yourself if this is really who you are or just who you have been, you are practicing, and practice, over time, becomes character. The more you choose to respond instead of react, the more natural it becomes. The more you question whether that is just how I am, the more you see that it was never true. You are not stuck. You are not finished. You are always in the making, and that is the greatest freedom of all. The freedom to become. Not to be defined by what you have done or how you have been, but by what you choose to do next. That is the heart of Stoic wisdom. We are not fixed. We are in motion, and the direction of that motion is up to us. So we come back to the beginning, to the power of what we do not say, and to the power of what we choose to say instead. We have covered 7 things intelligent people never say. I already know that. That is impossible. That is not my fault. I do not need any help. I am too old for that. I will do it later. That is just how I am. Not because they are perfect, but because they have learned that these phrases close doors instead of opening them. Each one sounds reasonable in the moment, and each one costs us something we cannot get back. A chance to learn, a chance to try, a chance to repair, to grow, to become. If you have ever said one of these yourself, you are not alone. I have said them too. We all have. Every person in this conversation has said at least one of them. The difference is not that intelligent people never slip. It is that they notice, and they choose to do better. So which one hit home for you? Maybe it is time to retire "that is just how I am" and leave it in the past. Maybe it is time to stop saying "I will do it later" before later becomes never. Maybe you want to stop saying "I already know that" and open the door to learning again, or to stop saying "that is impossible" and take the first step instead. Whatever it is, the next step is yours. You do not have to fix all 7 at once. Start with one. The one that stung when you heard it. The one you know has been holding you back. Maybe it is the one you say when you are scared. Maybe it is the one you say when you are tired. Maybe it is the one you say when you would rather not try. Whatever it is, that is your starting point. Pick one phrase. Retire it. Replace it with something that serves you and the people around you. Wisdom does not lie in perfection. It lies in staying curious, staying humble, and always moving forward. One choice at a time, one day at a time. That is how growth works. Not in one dramatic moment, but in the quiet repetition of better choices. If today's conversation sparked something, subscribe to Stoic Ocean, hit the bell, and leave a comment about which phrase you are ready to retire. Which one will you work on first? Share this with a friend walking the same path. Someone who might need to hear that they are not stuck, that they can choose differently, that their words and their choices still matter. We are all walking this path, and the more we support each other, the more we remind each other that growth is possible, the easier it becomes for everyone to take the next step. Thank you for being here, for showing up, for listening, for doing the work of becoming who you are capable of being. The fact that you are here, that you made it to the end of this conversation, says something about you. You have not given up on growth. You have not decided you are finished. You are still in the game. And that is exactly where the Stoics would want you to be. See you in the next video.